You're listening to another Ambitious Entrepreneur Network.com podcast, the voice for entrepreneurs and small business. Now, onto the show.
Welcome to the Christian Entrepreneurs Podcast, daily conversations with Christian entrepreneurs to inspire and empower Christian business owners to walk strongly in their faith, while build a thriving business that honors Him in every way. Now, over to your host, Anne-Marie Cross.
And welcome to another episode of the Christian Entrepreneurs Podcast. This is episode 22, and I'm your host, Anne-Marie Cross, brand and communications strategist, also known as the podcasting queen. Now, my guest today says, do it scared. However, she wasn't always that way. In fact, this is her second Jonah business, and she'll share with you what that story is. Joining me on today's show is Candace Futch. Candace is a fiber artist, and she specializes in wearable silk art. And she created the I Am Faith collection to share God's joy, comfort, and love to women with wearable art scarves. Now, these scarves incorporate 3 crosses in the design, and specific prayers are prayed when they are made. And they're not only a great fashion scarf, but they're a comfort for women that are undergoing testing or medical procedures, and therefore they can't wear their metal crosses with them, so they can still have their cross with them. Now, on today's show, Candace is going to share that this is her second Jonah business. She allowed fear to stop her from doing what God asked her to do in her first business. I think we can all relate to this, Candace. She's also going to talk about, don't forget to make sure that your environment supports you both mentally and physically, as well as share 2 determined women. Find that support mechanism that is willing to push you, not just encourage you. So welcome to the show, Candace.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Yes, absolutely. So I just wanted to say, with the business that you now have, you're creating these beautiful wearable art scarves for women who are undergoing medical procedures and therefore can't wear their crosses. I mean, what an incredible idea. Just take us back to when you had an idea to create this business.
Actually, I didn't. As a fiber artist, I started knitting and weaving, and absolutely fell in love with the weaving and loved doing that. And I would weave crosses into my scarves and just had a wonderful time with that. But the Lord kept telling me that I was going to do I Am, because I asked Him specifically, Lord, give me another chance. I blew it on my first Jonah. Fully accept that. 10 years of proving to you I can be obedient. I'm really sorry, but give me another chance. And I just finally got the words, I am. You will do I am. So I tried to weave the words I am into the scarf. You actually cannot do that. It is not pretty. It is a nightmare, and it's not doable. So we were going to visit family up in North Carolina, which North Carolina in the U.S. is like Fiber USA. There's fiber fabrics factories there. It's just an incredible place to be. For the week that we were there, I could not find a single thing except this silk dyeing class, which I didn't want anything to do with silk whatsoever. Went ahead and went. They had an international dyer in, and I absolutely fell in love with it. She actually knew we actually had a kind of an acquaintance that we both knew. And so she was like, oh my goodness, if you know Jason, I'm going to give you a lot more. So she gave me more information, fell in love with it, bought my little kit, came home. In the next 2 years, I did nothing with it because we moved a couple of times and I lost it. Didn't even think anything about it. Finally moved into a home that was actually larger than we wanted, but I have a 1,000 square foot studio in the basement. So we were going to go on vacation. In the move, found that kit again. I thought, you know what, babe, before we go on vacation, let me just do these up and I can throw away the kit and I'm done. I could not remember the techniques that she was using to make the different designs. So I thought, oh my goodness, I'm on my own. I went ahead and made them, finished them, processed them, took them upstairs, showed my husband, and he said, oh my goodness, I absolutely love the cross. And I looked and said, what cross? I didn't put a cross in there. Yeah, you did, right there. No, I didn't. Babe, I did not put a cross in here. And he physically showed me where the cross was. And right when he showed me, I just had this overwhelming sense of I am.
Wow.
And it's like, wow, you waited 2 years for me to have the space, the location, everything to do that. It's like, oh my goodness. And so I started making them. And I think more importantly that I could not mimic somebody else's techniques. That it had to be completely mine.
Yes.
So I started making them, started selling, and Christian women were just loving them. But I had a woman that bought several of them and kind of walked off, and then all of a sudden rushed back and said, oh my goodness, my mother-in-law is going through a CAT scan tomorrow and she's scared because she can't have a rosary with her. I need a scarf for her. I can't believe I forgot her. I never even had thought about that connection with having something so important be so much of a comfort for women. It's like when you're scared, you need to press in. And in a medical situation, that is a struggle. And so that's kind of where that came from. But that was, that is 100% the Lord doing his magic. And, it's again, his time. No matter how many times I send that email, not once have I gotten a response.
Yes.
At Tuesday, 2:00.
Wow. So you mentioned in that story already that there was a time where there was an opportunity for you to run a business, and now you call it this is your second Jonah business. So just rewind us back so that we can kind of see your journey through that, because many people who are listening today and watching today, or even the recording later, may be at a crossroads in their life, or maybe in that same situation too. And as we know with our God, he is a forgiving God. He's a very patient God. I mean, sometimes waiting for 2 years for us, it's kind of like, can you hurry up the process, please? But it's all in good time. So just rewind us. What was that first business?
The first business was, I actually need to wind you back a little bit more than that. I had gone through a 17-year abusive marriage, and the Lord basically asked me to stay there. And then at his point, he kind of let that door open of, now I want you to purposely leave. And through that whole process, this person was able to go to the Lord, which was fabulous. What a wonderful thing. But after that, I started listening to people instead of listening to the word. And people were telling me, gosh, for what you endured, gosh, the Lord owes you big time. Wow. For bringing him his lost lamb, that's big. He owes you. This is the definition of stupidity. When you actually believe that the Lord owes you. And I remember very clearly, at the time I had a very high stress job, but I was also flipping houses on the side. And I walked out on my patio and I told God that he owed me and that it better be big and that I expected a lot. And looking back on it, I can just see the Lord looking down on me and going, oh my gosh, no, she didn't. Oh, no, she
What did you just say to me? Oh, yeah.
Yes. Are you serious, woman? No. We are going to have some serious, very serious lessons here. I cannot believe you just said that to me. Because right after the divorce, I had so many blessings given to me. And I've always had such a strong relationship with the Lord. But I did not grow up in a household that did a lot of praying or openly read the Bible or anything. Went to miscellaneous churches because we moved around a lot. Ended up, my ex-husband was Catholic, so in that part you're not encouraged to read the Bible, you're read the Bible. And so I never really had a get into the word and actually read the word, study the word concept. in my belief, it was simply that if I believed in the Lord and I talked to the Lord throughout the day and stuff, I was good. I was good. So things kept crashing down the very next day, complete crashing. Obviously lost my homes through the wonderful little crash there. Ended up losing, jobs. So I'm a single parent, unemployed, facing bankruptcy. And struggling and realizing I needed to press into him heavily.
Yes.
I got a temp job and I said, Lord, give me something. Because I've really been studying a lot, learning a lot. Give me something. And he did. He gave me in one night the entire company, everything is called According to His Plan. And they are Christian little writing books and little journals, but they're designed to actually help you learn about the scriptures. You're to take them into church with you and kind of expand on what you're learning in church, things like that. The concept was that taking these products and helping to do fundraising for churches through these items, because churches would have fundraisers, but the fundraisers were like chili feeds and things like that and not biblically based things. So I wanted to do that. Created the items, had them mass produced, created the entire structure. It was fabulous. It was wonderful. Created all the booklets, all the admin, everything. Yeah. When it actually came time to start, fear rippled me. And I got so scared of, what if this doesn't work? What if I fail God? I mean, seriously, what do you do when you fail God? I mean, when you meet your maker, you go, sorry about that, my bad.
Yes.
I mean, you can't do that. And it took me, I got so paralyzed from that fear that I got into a huge depression and just really struggled. And, asked the Lord, give me Christian women to help me through my journey here. And he did. I mean, everything that I asked, he provided me.
So looking back then, Candace, what were some of the insights that you can now see looking back that you learned along the way? Because I think this is going to be particularly helpful for other women. And I know that fear can often rise, even if we are very experienced, very knowledgeable, very studied in our area of expertise, we can still come up against that barrier of fear. So what are some insights that you can share with us?
I think it's kind of been a culmination of understanding a lot of different things. And the number one thing was understanding from the word that fear and God cannot be in the same place. Not that they don't want to be in the same place, they cannot be in the same place. So if I'm afraid, if I am fearful, I do not have the Lord with me. And so that place, and going back, just that word afraid, it puts you, or it put me anyway, in that black hole of emptiness, of completely being paralyzed and alone and isolated, and just the depth of pain. I was listening to one of those motivational speakers one time, and she used a different word that triggered an entire change for me, and that was the word scared. And I thought about, gosh, in my career, I was in corporate America, I was that golden child that give her something and it was going to be exceptional. You have a broken unit, give it to Candace, it'll be exceptional in a couple of months. And so, I was promoted every year and a half, all that good stuff. But I always did things that nobody else had done before. And being so young and having control over people that are so much older than me, or a lot of people and all that, I was scared a lot. But even as a mother, as a woman in, corporate America, we do things scared all the time. We do. Because scared, if I do something scared, that only means that I don't know the answer. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know the specifics, but I know the Lord's with me. So it's okay. And I may have to adapt, but I'm still okay. When you're afraid, you don't have the Lord, you're on your own. It is that empty black hole. So I can do anything scared. And that really triggered for me. The other things that I tried to do is just envelop myself with sayings that would keep me reminded that, you know, he's not there for fear. My favorite of the scriptures is, and I have it on my wall, Joshua 1:9. Have I not commanded you? Be strong and of good courage. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged. For the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. And the wonderful word in that is command.
Yes.
It's not an option. It's not a, you know, if you feel like it, you're having a really good hair day.
Yeah. Yeah.
No.
And you know what I think sometimes will also happen too, and you know, certainly there may be, as you said, an area that we are scared, but sometimes what can often happen too is that there's such a great destiny, such a great impact that we are called to have through the message that we share and the work that we do. And sometimes the enemy is in there lying to us and feeding us with seeds of doubt and distracting us, all sorts of things. So that is a good indication to step back and exactly what you said. Are we leaning in? Are we pressing in? And are we, you know, seeking the kingdom first? Because sure, we may not know everything. And in actual fact, I think God sometimes wants us not to know everything, because then what can often happen is pride will set in. It's, look, aren't I so great? But it's a reminder that, you know, a lot of the paths being made straight because of what he is doing. And, you know, then we can't see all the miracles that happen. So great lessons. Yeah. You also say
and the other thing too is when I started going off on the silks, one of the Fashion Group International came to me and said, oh my gosh, love your designs. You need to be doing ponchos and wraps and kimonos and all of this. So I did branch out and do more. And then about 9 months down the road, I turned around and looked at what I was doing, and a very, very, very small percentage of my time and effort was being put into the face scarves. And I thought, wait a minute, I'm doing this for his glory. He's not doing it for mine. You know, this is his plan for my life, but it's still his plan. That, you know, I have to know that my gifts are from God, but he is guiding it and fulfilling the plan in his time, for his people, with his people. So I had to step back and go, you know, what am I here for? And when I started putting the time and the effort back into the face scarves, oh yeah, they're selling like great. Yeah. So it really takes you back to reminding yourself, are you doing it for your accolades and your income or your benefit, or are you truly doing this because you have a purpose for the Lord?
And you know what, in saying that, absolutely. And then when we do step forward and face an absolute trust and do that, he rewards us. He really does reward us. And, you know, I can look back over periods of my time and I would have to say I'm getting better, but patience for me, it's kind of like I'm a quick start in Colby. So if I've got an idea, I'm in action taking, you know, things are rocking and rolling. So to then sit back and just wait, it's kind of like, okay. But I can see it's in those moments where I have waited, where I have had to be still, and you know, we're commanded to be still too. That is the time when I'm developing strengths, developing wisdom, developing processes and systems that when things start to increase and start to build momentum, there's no way that I would have been able to handle that momentum and that growth had that been released upon my life in my business back then. So it is in all good timing, as you say, a great lesson. Let's move then into what you're talking about as being so important is, and you say, don't forget to make sure that your environment supports you mentally and physically. So this was really important for you too.
Yes. I had to be able to have my environment remind me where I am. So I have certain sayings and pictures right in front of my face. I have words that when I'm doing this kind of an activity, I look right in front of the face. When I have certain rituals that I do. I have certain paintings and pictures that I look at, but it has to be a positive environment where you want to be there. You can't create an environment where you have to be there.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And you want to be able to have your environment kind of like drag you down. I mean, I can live in clutter that I create for a little while, you know, and then we're all just like that. Wait, stop. I have to clean and organize and all that. You need to be able to make sure that your environment truly supports that, and get those words that speak to you and push you and, you know, get it in your face every single day. And there's no choice but not to have it in there.
Yes. And I love the way that you're saying about affirmations, and, you know, and you've got that Bible verse that you are reminding yourself of every day. And, you know, one of the promises that I love, and it's in the Bible, and I can't remember the verse, maybe you can recall it. If not, that's all right. We'll just go and see it later. But it's about resist the devil and he will flee. So if you've got that, you know, the fear or whatever, and you just say, Lord, you know, take over, and then this instant feeling of calmness will often appear. So, you know, and it is true. So not only the environment, but also your external environment too, the people surrounding you. And one of the things that you said was what was important was the women who are around you as well, to really support and uplift you. And sometimes getting together with people who maybe are where you are at, that can provide, you know, advice, mentorship, that kind of thing. It's all important, isn't it? Environment. To help nurture you and strengthen you and teach you in areas that you may not know already.
It is. And such a wonderful thing with the internet is being able to not just have to be limited to the people next door, that you have an entire world that you can connect in with. I'm a part of a lot of different groups and such on Facebook, but and I want to stress this too. You can join 50 different groups if you want to, but how much time is that taken away from what you're supposed to be doing for him? And you really need to home in on which ones truly serve the purpose and the need that you have, and get rid of the others. They're not serving you, move on.
Yes.
And that's the same with people too. In business, I mean, even though we're living this as a Christian living, and we're living this as through a Christian business, it's still tough. And being a Christian, living a Christian life is tough. It's not easy. Having a business is tough. It is not easy. So what you don't want standing beside you is an encourager that is simply there to be a cheerleader. Cheerleaders are great. My husband is a phenomenal cheerleader for me, but doing the details of a lot of work is not going to be there. And that man is not going to tell me, sweetie, that's ugly. That's a real miss on that. He's not going to be honest with me. He's going to love me too much to hurt my feelings. When I created Two Determined Women, probably about 9 months ago, I knew I wanted to create an arena where I could basically have a business partner without the financial connection. So I went on the hunt, trying to find a woman that could match my personality, match my faith in the Lord, and that we could be blunt, honest with each other, which sometimes is really hard for women to do, because we don't want to hurt our feelings. But this is business. This is not, you know, leave it to beaver time. Yeah. So I found a woman, and we started meeting. We have a very specific agenda. First starts off with prayer. We deal with what has been in our last, week or so, what's upcoming, and what's my accountability that I need to have you focus me on, that you're going to call me on it. And then the last part is I have to bring something to your business.
Mm.
So I have to, at every single meeting, be bringing information to her, new product development to her, new ideas of where to sell for her. I have to have a vested interest in the success and financial growth of her business.
Yes.
So, yeah, and in that aspect, I can be really tough on her with love.
Yes.
And that's hard to find, and you need to find those women.
Yeah, I love that. And that really was the last insight that you wanted to share around find a support mechanism that's willing to push you and not encourage you, and you've created it yourself. What were some of the things? I love that idea, by the way, and vice versa. She speaks into your business, gives you ideas, brainstorms, those kind of things. And what's really important, I think, and I'd love for you to share some more insights around how you found her. What were some of the key things that helped you to determine or find and then determine who was going to be the right business partner, so to speak, or alliance partner? What was the process that you went through?
Well, we met together. We did one-on-ones together for, probably about 4 or 5 times. And our personalities and our past lives just mimicked each other. They were just together, and we both, it was so funny because we were both, the Lord wants us together. And it was so funny because even the day that we met, she actually, we were at a women in networking meeting, and I was a vendor there, and she bought some scarves from me and walked off, turned around, came back. She goes, "No, the Lord says we need to do a one-on-one. I don't know why, but there's something here. We need to get together." And I thought, wow, this is a crazy lady. I don't know that I want to. I don't know. But we met. She's a very nice woman, very strong Christian. That alone was a big factor for me because I needed somebody who understood that even though this might not be a huge dollar purpose of my business, I have a more important purpose, and that is fulfilling his needs for this. So it doesn't matter as much what the dollar amount for my sales are. It matters how many women are being touched. And I needed somebody to be able to distinguish and truly understand that. The other thing was just our personalities. Would she, and I tested it a few times, could I disagree with her and she'd be okay with it? Could I say something of criticism to her in a positive way, but would she take positive criticism well? And we started doing that, and it worked well. We laughed together. I mean, it was great. And I want to also give you, she is about 25. I mean, I'm 55 and she's late 60s. So, I mean, there's an age difference, but it's much more on the strength, and she's very serious about her business. If you have a hobby, that's great. But if you have a business, you don't want to be connected in with somebody who has a hobby because their momentum, their push, their drive is not there. So, but a hobby and a hobbyist can be together. A strong business and strong business can be together, but it's when the two people do not have the same drive to their businesses. That's the struggle.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, one of the things that you were saying on all of those factors, there's common values, core values that drive you. And even in the last show that we had, that was what we were talking about too, whether, personal relationships or even business relationships can often, unfortunately, come to an end when the core values aren't there, because you're seeing very different things. You're driven by very different things, which is certainly what you're saying. So that relationship then, do you meet on a regular basis? I'm asking questions because I've just sensed that this is such a great idea for people, particularly too, because one of the things when I first started the show, the second guest said to me, I'm so thankful. She said, I didn't realize that there were other Christian women in business around, and she felt quite isolated. And so, finding someone that has similar faith as you, similar drive around the business is such a great idea. So do you meet regularly, once a week, or how does that work?
Initially we met every other week.
Yeah.
And we live probably about an hour, about 45 minutes away from each other.
Mm-hmm.
So with all the different meetings and such that we had, because her customers are found more one-on-one,
Mm-hmm.
whereas that's not my customer base. So we had a lot of struggles, the timing. So we would reschedule a lot. What we're doing now is we're going to be meeting once a month in person.
Mm-hmm.
And then every single Monday at 7:30 in the morning, we're going to do a Skype or a Zoom, because, we don't physically have to be there anymore. At the beginning, physically being together was really important because we had a lot of paper exchanging. Now we just scan them and email them and send them to each other. But yeah, and we're actually creating a program through our library.
Mm-hmm.
Our library heard about it, and it's actually connected in Kansas City. It's actually about 17, 18 different systems that have come together for the library system here. And they have a business division, and we're going to be creating the program and then sponsoring it through the library. Wow. So more women can kind of get exposure to how do you actually go about doing this.
Yeah.
Because, you can meet women and they're great women, and I love to be with them, but they're not great business partners.
Yeah.
And that's not to say that you won't have disagreements either. We ended up joining together to do some products. And we had huge struggles, and it basically was very hard, but it was, instead of talking to each other woman to woman, we were able to go, okay, businesswoman to businesswoman, what do you think of this end product? Would you buy this? No, I wouldn't. Okay, we got to do something.
Yeah.
So, and being able to survive that kind of dialogue is what your business partner has to have, because they truly have a vested interest or they don't.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And it's that vested interest that's important. So
yeah, brilliant. And of course, now that you are pressing in and that you really have Christ at the center of all your business decisions, now I can see the real passion, and you're developing even something bigger now, where you're going to, through two determined women coming together, what you have created is now going to impact the lives of many other business women who are looking for support, because many of them may also be at a situation where you described earlier, fearful, not really sure, what am I going to do? Is this really what I should be doing? All of that. And I think when you surround yourself with other like-minded people who can support you, can work it through, talk it through with you, you're often able to.
Yeah. And it was hard for me because, I don't have a sister. I don't have, those close friends that are artistic and with you. A lot of people have that sister or mother, family that immediately are all there together. I don't have that. So for me, I had to go find that.
Yes.
And that is something that, is really hard, because having just somebody looking at, I'm thinking about a new design for a business card. What do you think?
Mm-hmm.
Even simple things like that. I need somebody to bat ideas off of each other. When I look back on the success of my career in corporate America, and I know that a lot of people are like this, in corporate America, you have teams, you have the marketing division, the legal department, you've
got a lot of people that can contribute and give you advice and support. Yeah.
Yes. And, it's kind of like you turn around and you're going, wait a minute, I'm everything. But you need that person that you can just bounce ideas off of, and they can say, gosh, I have no clue at all, but I've got a resource for that.
Yes.
So it's joining and really making that vested impact on your business so that you're successful and you develop a great friendship out of it too.
Yeah. And anytime now, as you said, that you have a little bit of doubt or maybe a little bit of fear, you can come together, you can talk it through, you can pray about it, of course, which would you be doing first, and you do. And then, the answer often will show itself. How can people find out more about your business? And do you ship internationally, by the way, or just in the US?
Well, actually, I have not even shipped in the US yet. I'm just at the very beginning of where I'm just doing local.
Yes.
So I've just started doing the shipping. So yes, I can. I just haven't started
fabulous.
yet.
Good. So share, how can people find out more?
Yeah, From My Basket is the name of my company. I am on Facebook and I do have a website. On the website, I'll be doing a lot more videos and all of that, and finally getting launched out into a lot more the Facebook and doing videos. So I feel like now that the Lord has strengthened my products to make sure that the core of my world is the face scarves, and they're able to be touching so many women. He's getting me in touch with some incredible cancer stores and hospital gift shops and all of that, which is incredible. And church stores, I had no clue. I mean, I didn't think about it. But so, just being able to pass that on has just been great. And so now I'm at the point where, okay, now expand out and do so much more online and stuff. So absolutely.
Yeah, fabulous. Yes. Well, we'll put all of those links on the show notes, and to get access to the show notes, ambitiousentrepreneurnetwork.com/TCE22, ambitiousentrepreneurnetwork.com/TCE22. We'll put all of the links for Candace so that you can click through and go and check her out on Facebook, through to the website as well. I think, what's really so beautiful is that, sometimes when you get a product like a headscarf, particularly being able to gift that, or if there is a woman that is experiencing that, and to be able to wear the scarf and to look at the scarf, but also to be able to have watched and listened to the interview with the creator of that scarf, knowing that when she creates that, she prays, she puts her gifts and her talents into that, I think is just incredibly special. So thank you for sharing your testimony, and I wish you all of the very best in your business.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, my pleasure. One of the things that I am doing for all of the guests is saying a prayer at the end of the show. Can I do that for you too, Candace?
Oh, thank you. I would love that.
Yeah, fabulous. Dear Father, thank you for the opportunity that we have had to listen to Candace's story. Sometimes, Lord, when we do have, feel called that we have a business idea, things can get scary. There's a lot of moving parts with business. But, we're reminded through the story that Candace shared today that when we lean into you, when we seek your advice, when we surround ourselves with like-minded people, that, the answers will often be there, and we don't need to be afraid when we lean and we press into you. Father, I just want to thank you for the work that Candace is doing, particularly touching the lives of women who are experiencing, scared times when their health is in jeopardy, but knowing, wearing the scarves, and even, just always that you are there, you're our comfort, and you love us. And so we just really thank you for the work that she is doing. We ask that you continue to bless her scarves and her work and the people that she is meeting through her business. And we pray for her business partner as well, that you will bless the business. It was so nice to hear how they work together, they support each other, and that you are at the core of what they do, and you are the reason that they are working at these businesses. We pray this in the precious name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you so much. It is just really wonderful. And if you don't, that's all right. But all that I was thinking, maybe you've got some beautiful images. If you wanted to send them through, then when we do publish the show live, we can actually add some of those images on the show notes too, if you wanted to do that.
Oh, that would be great.
Yes. So go ahead and do that.
Where would I send that? Just reply back to the email?
Just reply back to the email. We've got a little, obviously we're featuring this live on Facebook, so this will be live, but of course the show itself and the actual audio won't go live for a couple of weeks actually. This is episode 22, and we've just launched the 6th episode. So being the 6th of February. So send them down. I think it would be lovely for people to be able to see that on the show notes as well. All right, all the very best. Let's play the outro and let you rest up for the night because it's quite late for you. So appreciate you taking the time.
You've been listening to the Christian Entrepreneurs Podcast, brought to you by BeTheDifferenceMovement.com. Changing the world one message at a time. Do you feel called to influence real change with your message? Join our supportive community of like-minded influencers, thought leaders, and disruptors at www.BeTheDifferenceMovement.com. That's BeTheDifferenceMovement.com.